It's spring at Shadowlands, and in today's episode, I take you on a tour of the woodland area of the garden, avoiding the famous giant Japanese hornets, the Suzumibachi. Nasty critters. Path here. This is an area of the garden which I call my wild area. It's extremely beautiful. On the left here we have this beech hedge, and this tree here, which you can't probably see, let me come around this angle, got to be a bit aware of the wasps around here. So this tree here, believe it or not, is a horse chestnut, and it's about 10 years old. Very, very slow growing here in Hakone, but it is eventually coming here. And I've kept this area, it's about, I don't know, it's about 5 by 5 meters, and I've kept it as a wild woodland area. There are anemones and all sorts of gentians that come through here. It's absolutely beautiful later on. So I cut it down now just for the spring, and then pretty much leave it and maybe do one more cut of this footpath just so I can go along here. Got to be a bit careful of the giant Japanese hornets at this time of the season as they're beginning to find places for their new nest. Along here we have, not coming out yet, but a lovely Clematis montana, but it's just all the way along that hedge. It's weaving in, and here we have a wild honeysuckle that will be out in about a month's time. So through here is the woodland walk. A lot of maples, a lot of sugi. I'm not going to take you, well, I'll take you a little down here. So we go along this wild footpath. We've got some cherry trees there. That is a very nice, if I just come through here, this is a very nice hydrangea. Completely wild, never planted it, just in its native habitat. There are some bluebells along here too. If any of you are watching Joe's Country Garden, beautiful, beautiful bluebell wood he's got there, but we don't really like it here. So here we have things that just pop up, which I develop. I think this is a hazel of some kind. Usually when you think it's a plant, it is, but it's a Japanese version, japonica. Slight variations for the climate and so forth. This here, this plant here, is an absolutely beautiful plant, deceptive. Its trunk here goes deep black in the winter. These leaves go absolute, almost canary yellow. And when you cut it, the fragrance of the wood is lovely. I used to use it for toothpicks. So we're walking along here. We've got a number of maples and hydrangeas. This tree here, I planted this one, and it's doing very well there. I was in two minds. Here we have some beautiful area where there are ferns growing here. So this is Japanese painted fern, and all along here are different types. Maidenhair fern isn't up yet, it's quite late coming out. So here's the woodland path we're walking through. Here we have some extraordinary trilliums. Here's a trillium, but there's a double trillium that comes out, and these items here, which again I will get the name for you, and this is a slightly different one, and they throw up beautiful, beautiful long pendulous flower spikes. Quite expensive, around 20 to 30 quid just for a plant. This is a yellow flowering plant, Yamabuki in Japanese. Doesn't flower so well here, it's a bit too dark I think, so maybe I will move that at some stage. And here we see, you can see how steep that bank is going down to the road, and full of maples, and the light is magnificent. We do have some gentian roses here, some hellebores. There we go, some nice hellebore varieties. Probably need to plant a few more. And as we can just see, that light is magnificent. Maple here, beautiful red trunk on that. And this is the area in which I store my leaf mould. So I haven't actually turned that as much as I should this year, but that would be completely full. It's just got a frame and chicken wire around it. Needs to be turned quite regularly to aerate it. There's a lovely series of camellias along here, and this back area along here, this woodland, you can probably hear the birds, is again an area that I'm still working on developing. It was very overgrown. You have to keep on top of it in Japan. Again, wild hydrangeas that I've now begun to cultivate. Camellia here, planted a few years ago, but here is, for example, a seedling maple. They're popping up in their thousands. Mahonia japonica. And again, not quite a woodland path, but you can see it goes right up into the woodland beyond. This magnificent mountain cherry tree. Got magnolias there, it's a bit late coming out, another hydrangea. All sorts at Shadowlands with the Volcanic Gardener. Let's pop along to the main area of the garden. So we're going back along the woodland path. That path, by the way, continues right up around the side and back of the house. This is a bit shaky because I'm dodging the flying black fly at the moment, which I don't particularly want to get biting my face or ears. They won't bite through clothing, unlike mosquitoes, but they do swell up rather nastily. So here we're going through this woodland path, which is absolutely beautiful this season, and you can see here that it's a nice little wild area. As I said, I'm going to hopefully, if I get time today, trim that back and then just leave it for the rest of the season. I'm just mowing the path, or cutting the path. Just heard a bee. Now this season, 99.9% of the time, they're very, very nice bumblebees. Occasionally, however, with a giant Japanese hornet. This here is a magnificent maple tree. It's probably the biggest in the area. Very late coming out. You can just see it starting to come out, and it really dominates this area. There is multiple trunked. I might have one or two removed next year. And as you can see, because it's quite dark here and we're so high up, we're now just almost the beginning of May. We're just the end of April, and we've still got these lovely daffodils. So as we come through here, you see that the garden now begins to open up, and this is my moss lawn, which has taken me a long while to create by planting grass and letting the moss take over. This is a very nicely formed persimmon tree, which is just budding out with a leaf. It's probably about 30 years old, something like that. The crocuses have just finished. And for the first time ever, my only pear tree is in flower. Don't think I'll get any pears because I haven't got another one to cross-fertilise, but we'll see. And this is the lawn area, and this is an oak tree. Beautiful oak tree, standing sentinel, giving us some height. You see that lower branch there? Possibly next year I will remove that lower branch, just so we're lifting the canopy to allow other plants to have their time. This is a bed that I've separated like this at the moment, simply to allow the plants to establish, because it gets very overgrown. They're outcompeted with weeds and so on. So I've actually had to put it in this sort of nursery bed. I know it looks a bit incongruous in the centre of the lawn, but there are some very nice dogwoods, Siberica and things like that, with the lovely stems. And in the centre is a plant that's doing quite well now, and it has lovely yellow flowers in the spring. A butula, something like that, maybe, not sure. I'll look it up and I'll tell you. So later on, probably in a couple of years' time, I will remove this rather garish plastic thing, and I will allow the lawn to start to encroach on these plants so that they're a bit more like the pear tree there. They're just growing within the moss lawn. This was just a bank. This is a chestnut, doing very, very well. Strong trees, chestnut. And along here, they've just finished, unfortunately. I have some snake's head fritillary that grow up through here. Now, I've topiarized this into 3 balls, This bed here is on a bank, but it really comes alive in May time because it's got hydrangeas all along there. So around about this time of season, along here, we have lots of plants that are doing their thing. I don't tend to weed it too much these days, simply because those plants that are there are doing well. I will weed it once, but the lawn, this area here, these are very pernicious weeds. They pull out quite easily. I need to get on top of them today. Here we have a lovely maple, and this here is a weeping ume. Weeping ume, it's just finished. That will have hundreds of Japanese sour plums on them. It's a shidare one, which means it's weeping. And up here, just about see, they will be yellow flowers later. This is a very nice prickly ash, which is ground up, powdered the leaves, and used to eat with grilled eel, steamed eel, which is incredibly almost antiseptic flavour, really lovely. So we can use that. Here is a tree that I'm gradually reshaping. It's a cypress of some sort, and it was a Humpty Dumpty. You know, I posted a video about Humpty Dumpty before. This is Humpty Dumpty Senior. I've got to get on top of that, but you can't do it all at once. It's a big tree. And there's a rose, and obviously at this time of season, we start to have possibly nesting birds. So I will tidy up this bed. It's on my list. I will certainly do so before the insects get going. It's absolutely chock full of materials. Here we have a native Japanese spirea. It's full of buds. It's going to really, really flower well. Blue star needs to be enlivened a bit. And my rhubarb. Here are my rhubarbs. And dandelions. Yes, we get dandelions here in Japan too. But also, quite a nice display of tulips. I just got a mixed pack, shoved them in. They're doing very well in pots there. Now, here is an area that we've seen before. This, if you remember, was the pruned pine tree, the red pine. That is a giant hornet. So we go in. These are the enormous sugi trees that we have here, and this is a downward shot of a woodland walk going towards, as you can see, the leaf mould store. So this is a good aerial shot. This is a different type of maple. I'm not hanging around long here because the wasps really like it this season. But let's just take ourselves over this area and see an overview of the garden. This house here I'm having reformed soon, so you can see up above us there on the left, magnificent 30-foot, maybe, well higher than 30 foot, 20-meter high mountain cherry. But here we are, the garden from an aerial shot, so you can get quite a good view of a garden like that. Here is the area down there that we were saying is this woodland, this sort of wild area that I will stream, and this is the beech hedge, if you can see here. Here is the sambucus, beautiful plant there. These are the steps, or some of the steps, and that area behind there is where the pergola is, and that's got a wisteria, and I'll show you that area behind there, and the driveway area on the other side, behind the studio there, which has got more trees, mature trees. I'll show you that later, maybe in another video. So the garden is waking up. This is the time where I really need to keep control, otherwise it gets away with you. Bye for now.